And welcome back to the Sporting Lounge. Today is December 5th, 2023. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving, or that might have been 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Uh, anyways, week 13, NFL football. Here we are going to talk about that. Um, don't forget to give us a like, comment, subscribe, a follow, whatever. Over at twitch.tv/information is me. We got a Facebook group called the Sporting Lounge. Go ahead, hit us up on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you get your podcasts. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start our week with.
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thursday Night Football. Seattle against Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas won 41-35.
Nail biter.
It was definitely nail biter. This is one that I could see going either way because Seattle has, I just believe, the weapons to compete with Dallas. But ultimately, I thought Dallas would win.
Yeah, you predicted 42-24 this week. I predicted 37. So
yeah, it was like I said, I thought they had the weapons. I just didn't think Geno Smith would play to that level.
Yeah.
This game. But he did.
He did.
The game. 334 passing yards. Deacon Metcalf, 134 yards. He had, I forgot what the stat was, but in like the first quarter, or maybe it was the first half, he had like 95% of his yards.
Yeah.
1 touchdown. And the second half, he had the rest, but and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny to me.
That is a weird stat.
So if you started him, you're ecstatic.
Yeah.
You're so happy.
100%.
Same thing with Geno Smith, or really Dak Prescott for that matter too as well.
100%.
What are your thoughts about it? Do you think it'd be this close, or?
I was thinking it was going to be like Dallas's game pretty handedly. You know, like, as I said, nail biter. Dallas moves up to 9-3, so they are in the elite talks with their contemporaries currently in the NFC, and they're making it so you can't debate it. Especially being in a division with the Eagles, and now there's a chance they just go ahead and take the division over. That's kind of crazy. Crazy. With that being said, going over all the stats, Geno Smith, 3 for 1. You're happy about that. Dak Prescott going 3 for 0. I definitely would have started Dak Prescott this week. That's what I was saying last week. Dak Prescott's just been putting on a fucking clinic, and everybody just loves to hate him, but he's really productive in fantasy, and he's really productive in real life too. I didn't think
those teams.
I didn't think it was going to be this close, but yeah, a lot of fantasy gems came out of this game. So you had Zach Charbonnet, who was a guy that we were talking about possibly picking up off waivers, and you get him. Zach Charbonnet alone was worth what? Like almost 1 yard off of a 100-yard game total scrimmage on a catch touchdown.
Yeah, he was worth about 16 points.
Yeah, real solid.
16 points.
Tony Pollard, Tony Pollard having a very similar type performance. Just real solid all around. Anybody you could have started in this game, you're really happy about. So moving forward, do you think the Seahawks keep this efficiency on their offensive side of the ball? And does Dallas continue to be able to play at this level? I personally think that Dallas is going to be able to play at this level moving forward. What about you, Austin?
I think so. And a lot of people are putting him in the MVP conversation and saying that he should even be the favorite.
I think so.
How do you think about that? Do you think he's like the runaway favorite, or you think he has some close competition?
CJ Stroud.
Do you think that? Who?
CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts. That's the two. Brock Purdy's in the conversation, but I don't think he's up there with them. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, just because he's Patrick Mahomes.
It's just that name thing.
Yeah, man. I don't know about any other MVPs. What about you?
Yeah, no, it's the two people you named first. Like I want to put Brock Purdy up there too as well, but he just hasn't done enough to get that right. But also he got put in as a finalist for Rookie of the Year, so who the hell knows? You know. But no, I think it's really the way Dak Prescott is playing right now. He's the runaway favorite.
He should be.
And you could make an argument for CJ Stroud next after that. Then I think third should be
Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts. I don't know, man. They just lost this week, which we'll end up getting into that. But, it's crazy because every time we talk about MVP conversation, a player that should be involved never gets brought up. Justin Herbert, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, just was a part of a shutout against the Patriots.
Yes, best quarterback in NFL. One of the best. You're so right. I mean, he's had a pretty good regular season, so I could understand the argument. But it's just one of those things like the Heisman, right? Similar to Heisman and in this sense for MVP. Like if you're not on a winning team,
you don't deserve it.
It's good. Yeah, inherently that's what people say. That was one of the big arguments against to go to basketball real quick. Luka.
Yep.
Right. Is because the Mavs weren't a good team or didn't have a really winning record. They were floating between the 8th and 9th seed. And I think that's probably why Justin Herbert's not in that conversation.
Yeah.
He's overlooked because of that. It's unfortunate because he's been playing really good. When he says 3,000 yards on the year, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Projected over 4K. Projected good TDA interception ratio, almost passing at 70% completion rate.
Which is good. Yeah, he's projected to have a 65.6. He currently has a 65.6 as well. So it's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not surprised he didn't have a spectacular game. I am surprised it was 6-0, though. That I am surprised about.
Yeah, bro.
I thought it would have been a little bit higher scoring of a game.
Yeah, bro. I had faith in the past this week. I bet that they were going to win 17-11. You were saying 34-10.
Yeah, for the Chargers.
Yep.
Yeah, ain't no way I was betting on the Patriots, even though they're my favorite team.
Hey, bro.
That'd be so wild. Hey, bro.
They just needed one touchdown and they would have won. Pending PAT. One touchdown.
Yeah. Your boy finally got the start too.
I know, bro. I was hoping Bailey Zappi would lead him to victory. He did throw a pick.
He's supposedly going to be the starter going forward.
Yep. Good move. Good move.
From what the reports are saying.
That's a good move.
That's been really official. I don't know about good move, but it is a move to make.
Hey, man, I fuck with it. They're feeding the ball to Ezekiel Elliott, although he didn't have any touchdowns on the day. He did have 4 receptions, 40 yards. On the ground, he toted the rock for 52 yards in total, making 92 yards from scrimmage, no TDs with 1 reception. So, solid day on the ground and through the air for Ezekiel Elliott. What you thinking about that?
I'm thinking I wish Rhamondre didn't get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking I wish. I like having Zeke back there because he's just another... I think he's the RB2 in that backfield, or the 1B. To Rhamondre's 1A.
Yeah.
And he's a great change of pace back and a great back to just have in there when he needs a breather, or Rhamondre needs a breather. And then, of course, if he gets hurt, you got an amazing backup that can carry the workload, and he can be that workhorse for you if needed. So, I mean, obviously, it's not the showing you wanted from the team as a whole. And I think they have a lot to figure out on offense, and that they need to invest heavily in offense this offseason. Or wait for serious trouble.
Yeah, I agree. Because, when Devontae Parker is your best receiver, think something's wrong. We're not talking about prime Devontae Parker either. We're talking about ancient Devontae Parker.
Old man Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
Old man Parker.
Still cooking, though, with 4 receptions on 9 targets at 64 yards.
He do be doing something.
He do be doing something. So, Quinn Johnson had himself, like, his first average game.
Yep.
5 receptions, 52 yards, worth 10 points. That first-round draft pick's really paying off for all those dynasty owners.
Yeah, the good old 242 yards and a touchdown on the year. So great.
Big stonks. Keenan Allen's doing Keenan Allen things, just having himself an average week, 5 receptions, 58 yards, worth about the same as Quinn Johnson. Eckler was horrible on the day, 14 carries, 18 yards. He did tote in the ball through the air 2 times for 9 receiving yards. You know, it was just an ugly game, man. No touchdowns, nothing, just 2 field goals. Man,
I'm saddened by it. I at least expected him. I just don't know if it was the Patriots defense that was that good and the Chargers offense was just that bad. Maybe it makes a million there on that.
Because I think it's the Chargers offense just being that bad.
I could agree with that. I'm with it.
Yeah.
Because you saw, like, for the Chargers offense, you saw several drops.
Yeah.
Well, a couple from Quinn Johnson.
Yeah. Like, I think Mike Williams being down is a big detriment to the team. Because, you know, Mike Williams, although he hasn't had the production that we've been hoping for, the big thing with him is, you know, he gives Keenan Allen that easy. They can't just double him and throw a safety on the top of him. You got to watch Mike Williams or else he'll burn you on the deep end, you know?
Right.
It's just one of those things where, like, fundamentally Mike Williams did a lot for that team that Quinn Johnson just wasn't drafted to do. Quinn Johnson was drafted to be, like, kind of a Keenan Allen replacement. So, like, at this juncture, I wouldn't call him a bust or anything, just it's not his year. You know, maybe next year he'll see more snaps, but
yeah,
he's more of a next type receiver.
Yeah, and you can't really call a rookie a bust after a year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm very much against that. I think they deserve at least 2 full years before that conversation even starts, pretty much. And we all knew that he was the number 3 receiver in that offense, right? Possibly number 4 if you want to account for the tight end. So it's like, I think he had probably too high of expectations coming into the season because he was drafted in the first round, but you also got to realize the team and the players that were ahead of him that are still ahead of him.
What about the players drafted after him?
Yeah, like Puka and whoever else.
Zay Flowers.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares? Quinn Johnson to the moon, my guy. To the moon.
Crack, rock.
To the moon, man. To the moon. I'll die on that hill. Just kidding. I won't. Puka's been a baller. But I also think, do you think Puka's just that good, or he got aided by Cooper Kupp being out for a while?
No, I think Puka's that good. He's had a few good games since that happened.
Right.
So, you know, like, he's proven. Or is it just Matthew Stafford is still that good low-key?
Because he's supporting 3 receivers right now, basically.
Yeah, like, you know, like, Cooper Kupp, is he as good of a receiver as he's being right now in LA without Matthew Stafford? Maybe. Like, you could see that. But then randomly Puka, which we have no other film on. I don't know. And what about Tutu? Like, I don't know either.
It's a toss-up.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty much done talking about the Chargers-Patriots game. Not much to talk about there.
I think by the end of next season, though, we'll see Quentin Johnson coming to his own.
Yeah.
Personally.
We're going to move on to Lions at New Orleans.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can't remember what I called for this game.
So you called this week 27-14 Lions. I called 30-17 Lions.
Okay. Definitely a lot closer.
Yeah.
Closer.
Yeah, this was a fucking... Whew. Close one.
Yeah, let's see. Jared Goff, I had 16 and 25, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, 8 carries, 60 yards. David Montgomery, leading the way again, 18 carries, probably 56 yards, and a touchdown. And then Sam Laporta having himself a day. 9 receptions, 140 yards.
Consistent.
He's balling out as a tight end, man. I don't know what to say. Amon-Ra
he is worth 34 points this week, bro.
And then Amon-Ra, 2 catches, 49 yards, and a touchdown.
Solid.
Are you surprised with Laporta's rise?
I was expecting him to be good. I wasn't expecting him to be this good.
Because it's not often you see tight ends come out the gate like this.
Yeah.
It almost feels like since day one, he was just on fire.
Yeah. He's just a dominant force.
Right.
He's insanely talented. He's just got that it factor at tight end. I think realistically going into next year in fantasy, he should be looked at above Mark Andrews.
So you think like tight end 3? Top 3?
Yeah.
I think I could agree with that.
Only because Andrews is coming off an injury. And he's getting old.
Even if Andrews wasn't coming off injury, you still have an argument to make for Laporta to be over him.
Yeah. And, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Kittle fell out of the top 2 next season.
And Laporta jumps up to that number 2?
And obviously, that's Kittle at number 1. But, I just don't think that's going to change.
What do you where do you view like Michael Mayer and the dude that Bills drafted? And that's how I didn't rank.
Dalton Kincaid?
Yeah, that guy. Thank you.
I would say Mayers are probably around 17, 18. Something that he's very effective on is getting to assignments, not just on blocking assignments. You hear getting 2 assignments on blocking tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
But with Mayer, what I like is, he gets out on his route on a good release, goes ahead and gets turned around on a lot of curl routes, gets good block release routes. He's the whole package. So when we talk in fantasy, we're thinking like probably somewhere between 15 to 20. I don't think he has the dynamic playmaking factor to be able to do that at a higher level, even at a level like a Pat Freiermuth or a Mike Gesicki. Gesicki. Yeah, there we go. Gesicki. Yeah, whatever.
That's his new name now.
Yep. We're rocking it. But I do think that he is going to stay at that comfortable, like, rosterable tight end spot, especially if you're a type of player that streams tight ends. I think you could catch him in a couple of good matchups now moving forward. And the next couple seasons, I think his value will rise to that Pat Freiermuth low top 10 area. I think that's where he's going to end up settling in the future years. Laporta, I think in future years, is going to be a top 3 tight end.
So, yeah. And I think you're absolutely right. So
Kincaid, by the way,
by him,
probably below 25. So that's why I kind of just swerved around it.
Yeah. I mean, he's talented. He's just hasn't been getting those looks or targets or really anything. And
I mean, he doesn't get open.
It's like Laporta is one of those guys where like his price is only going to keep increasing.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of just have to either decide, because at this point in the season, he's going to be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be pricey, and most trading has to be done.
Yeah. Trade deadline's
yeah.
probably over in all leagues.
Yeah, so I mean, if you need tight end that bad, you can bite the bullet in the offseason to trade for him. But like that price is not going to be pretty.
Oh, no, it's
so
not.
Like he's one of those people that you've had to, but there's really never a sell low for. There's always a sell high.
Yeah, for the next 5-7
kept going up.
Yeah,
and the price just will keep going up. I think eventually it will plateau and stay the same. But
is he worth the first round?
He's worth multiple first rounds. If you get him for one first round and you say no, especially in a dynasty league, you're dumb. Like that is a good deal. You take that.
What do you think is a fair price for Sam Laporta? Because I agree on one first round. I don't agree on multiple first rounds. I'm thinking like a first, maybe a third, maybe a bench type player instead.
Let me look. I would probably be willing to pay 2 firsts for him.
So, how much would you be willing to pay for Tua Tagovailoa?
Well, because like through this season, right? Like 91 receptions, 64 receptions, 86 targets, almost 700 yards, 6 touchdowns. I think this is just things to come for Laporta, right? So the price is going to fluctuate depending on how many people love Sam Laporta and how much they love him. So like Tua, though, like a couple first, because he's still young and he's good. He's got a great offense.
2 first round picks for Tua, because you tell him
based off of my team and the way I need quarterback, I would probably do it.
So you put it at the same price. You put Laporta at the same price as Tua.
Yeah, except I'd be willing to pay more for one of them.
You'd be willing to pay more for Laporta?
I don't know. Is that who I'm talking about?
Who are you talking about?
One of them I'd be okay paying more for. No, I'd be okay paying more for Laporta. Just because I have Mark Andrews, right? As my starting tight end.
Sure, but like in general for owners.
In general, I'd pay more for Tua because that quarterback position I think is more needed and more beneficial and more valuable than the tight end spot. So I would pay more for Tua.
So
Laporta any day of the week.
Generally, what would you pay for Laporta?
Generally, so like in a dynasty, a first and a mid bench player.
So we're right on the same page.
And then in like a redraft or keeper league, couple mid, maybe a high level player.
Yeah,
something like that.
Would you give up Montgomery for Laporta?
It depends on who my other running backs are. For that, you know, like if he's like my 4th string running back or 3rd string running back, and then if I have like someone like Montgomery at tight end or some shit like that, I'd be okay doing like some kind of deal for Sam Laporta.
Yeah,
to get David Montgomery, you know, something like that. It just depends.
You know, Taysom Hill, he's an interesting player, isn't he?
He's average. He's okay.
I mean, toted the ball 13 times, got 59 yards and a touchdown, 0 for 2 on his passing attempts. But he did catch the ball 2 times for 15 yards. I mean, he just continues to do it all.
You know, gone are the days where you could play Taysom Hill at quarterback, tight end, or running back in fantasy.
Yeah.
And those are my favorite days where he'd be the starting quarterback, but for some reason I could start him at tight end.
Those were great days.
Because he was listed as a tight end and stuck his foot in there. That shit was amazing.
Yeah. So he is currently set as a wide receiver in fantasy, I believe. or tight end.
And Taysom Hill was over 2 passing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, so sad.
So
Derek
sad.
Carr, 17 of 22 for 226, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I believe he got injured a little late in the game.
Taysom Hill's listed as a tight end or QB. You could still
Little finagle.
Yeah, I mean, he's had 2 22-point games this season, and he's coming off a 15.41 right now.
Do you think they win the game if Derek Carr doesn't get hurt?
Yeah. Do you think the Lions are posers?
I think they're not a legit team.
That's kind of what threat.
Yeah. I don't think they're a legit threat. When someone plays them in the playoffs, I don't think they're going to be scared. They're just going to be like, oh, it's the Lions. Yeah, I think they're a really good football team, and they got a bright future ahead of them, especially with Dan Campbell as the coach. But currently for this year, I think they're just another playoff team. Yeah, not a real threat. And they'll do a little damage in the playoffs, but not a lot.
Anything else you want to say on that game?
No, just that I wish the Lions lost.
That would have been wild.
I'm rooting for that. I don't know why. I've just always been rooting for their downfall, man.
It's toxic, bro. That's because your team's bad.
It is toxic, but you know what? I'm okay with this.
And, I was watching this Falcons-Jets game live. I wasn't really paying attention to any other scores until after the games. So it was to my shock that there was a shittier offensive performance other than this game. But holy fuck, you want to talk about just bad, boring football.
Yeah. Dude, Tim Boyle got released.
Yep. They just said, fuck it.
If that tells you anything. And then Aaron Rodgers came out in defense of Zach Wilson.
Yep.
Which I thought was pretty cool. But it's just hilarious to me that a few days after the game, not even a few days, a couple days, they released Tim Boyle, who was their starting quarterback. So now it looks like it's going to be Zach Wilson again.
Yep.
It's kind of wild to me. I was really hoping that the Jets would somehow survive enough to actually make the playoffs, so that when Aaron Rodgers comes back, we can actually see the full team.
Yeah.
See the team how it was meant to be.
Maybe make a run or something. It would have been fun.
If they made a run, that would have been amazing. I would have loved that.
But it looks like it's over. Atlanta moves to 6-6, 13-8. Our predictions on the week, by the way. You said Falcons 2013. I said Jets 23-17. Turns out you're right, but we were both pretty off about the score. As you said, Tim Boyle got released after a miserable performance, pulling in a 22.2 QBR with 1425 completions, 148 yards and a pick. Really rough. Just miserable performance. Trevor Siemian came in and fumbled the ball 3 times. It was just a fucking mess. And then, the Falcons just pretty much
team that
chilled.
4 fumbles, too.
Kyle Pitts had 9 points. Wow.
What?
He's just so dominant, bro.
Kyle Pitts?
Yeah.
I mean, he is the best tight end.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think Kyle Pitts is the issue. Let me say that.
No, this is a quarterback play.
Yeah.
Offensive game plans.
Bro, imagine if Kyle Pitts had a quarterback that was just as good as, Kenny Pickett.
Anyone, really.
Jared Goff. Joshua Dobbs.
Baker Mayfield. As much as I hate to say it.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because I think I truly believe a great talent is going to waste on that offense.
Yeah. And not just going to waste, he's never going to win a Super Bowl or he's never going to win a playoff game. Not that type of waste, but actual just Calvin Johnson's still going to get into the Hall of Fame even though he never won a playoff game. Larry Fitzgerald is still going to get into the Hall of Fame, even though he never won a Super Bowl. Kyle Pitts, at this rate, will never even sniff Canton. And coming out of the draft, that was the projection of him.
Maybe because he was hell talented. He was a wide receiver that was a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And you hate to see it, right? It's one thing if a player is just bad on a team, but it's completely different to see a exciting, talented player just get wasted by the
squandered.
And that's the story of his career so far with the Falcons.
It's disturbing.
So it's like, it's sad. Honestly sad.
So with that being said, what's the price for Kyle Pitts if you're an NFL GM right now?
It's pretty low, man.
You think so?
Falcons have no right asking for a bag and a half and some potato chips. So it's like, you could probably get him for probably a fourth round, maybe as high as a third, but it's not going to be a lot. It's going to be pretty cheap. So if I was a GM and I needed tight end and I wanted someone like Kyle Pitts, I'd be willing to pay for it. Maybe someone like the Patriots to have another offensive weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Someone like the Jets potentially could use him.
The Jets would be a lovely fit.
Let's see.
The Rams.
The Rams would be pretty good. The Seahawks, because I'm not a big fan of Noah Fant.
And there might.
So I wouldn't mind seeing him there. Like, offensive scheme wise, there's just so many better places for Kyle Pitts than the Falcons that have a better scheme and
the Commanders,
a better quarterback. The Commanders would be great. I think he'd do very well with Sam Howell.
Yeah, me too. That'd be insane. With Terry McLaurin too. Scary Terry.
And Jahan Dotson too.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Like, who do you cover on those plays? Because he could go to any of them. Or if they're all covered, Sam Howell has the leg and the athletic ability to scramble for the first down.
He does.
So, and right now they don't have that. They just have some. They don't have that tight end, essentially. So if they got Kyle Pitts, that'd be fabulous. Do you think he gets traded?
He should, but he won't.
Offseason. Okay, so let me ask you then, what do you think his price tag is?
I think it realistically is about a third or fourth, a late third, early fourth. But I think that the asking price is a mid to low first, mid second to low first.
That's fair. You got to try to get as much as you can.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll let him go for anything less. Contract disputes are going to start coming up, which might play into his favor for getting out of there earlier. But they also might, if they don't make the playoffs, they should have a pretty good pick, and maybe they can get a guy like a Bo Nix.
They could use another quarterback because they gave Desmond Ridder the opportunity.
Yeah.
He just hasn't performed.
Yeah.
I think he has a good arm and
he's shown flashes.
It's just he's not consistently making good decisions with the ball and placing it where it needs to be. Right? He sometimes looks just way too rushed in the pocket, and that just causes mayhem.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can blame offensive line play for how the Falcons are playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. They just won a game. But, like, I think it is Desmond Ridder. I don't think he falls on the offensive line. I don't think it's... I don't know, man. When I'm watching those, like, plays and when I'm watching the game live, I'm like, Desmond Ridder has time. It's
he's just not making good reads.
He's just not making the best reads. And that's what you need to do in the NFL. You need to understand what defense you're getting into and what read is the best in the matchups.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, that leads us into our next game of the week, which is Cardinals Steelers. This game was a trog to sit through, but Kenny Pickett is supposedly out for the year, so that's great.
I saw that.
Sad news, sad news. Najee Harris is staying pretty consistent. It seems like they were just trying to piss him off when they said Jaylen Warren is the starting back, because ever since they said that, Najee has had more touches.
He has improved dramatically since then.
I mean, he just grinds the ball. George Pickens was looking in form. Deontay Johnson looked okay. But I mean, just like overall, the Steelers' offense is looking better, but it's just like with Kenny going down and they're just not able to finish off drives right now. It's just that's the issue right now. But it's tolerable to watch. The Cardinals went ahead and themselves a field day. Kyler Murray, 145 yards through the air and touchdown. James Conner trucked through the Steelers, 105 yards, 2 TDs. And Trey McBride accounting for nearly 70% of Kyler Murray's yards on the day. Big hauls.
Were you surprised?
Yeah, fuck yeah, I was, man. TJ Watt also made a statement after the game about the NFL knowing how it's unfair how he's being held.
Yeah, I did see that.
Interesting.
But for me, right, I'm happy the Cardinals won from a purely selfish standpoint because that just helps the Patriots get a better draft pick.
That's fair.
Kind of where I'm at.
Yep.
Whatever helps them get a better draft pick, I'm all for. At this point, where do you see the Steelers rest of the season with Mitch Trubisky at the helm?
I don't fucking know, man. Actually, I don't know. I don't know. Like, Mitch Trubisky wasn't horrible. He had the only touchdown the Steelers had on the day. He did make some duck throws.
Didn't play bad.
I mean, like, there's a chance. I don't think it's great, but I do think that there's a realistic chance. I'd say about 35% chance they make the playoffs. So,
was Kenny's injury again?
They are saying it is a sprain. I think it's high ankle, which would be 3 to 4 weeks or 3 to 5 weeks.
Okay, so similar injury to Trevor Lawrence then.
He did have surgery, and he's not getting placed on IR after it. So about that 3 to 5 week period is correct to be assuming.
That's good news then. That he didn't get put on IR at least.
Yeah, it makes life a little bit easier for sure.
Because that means he can still come back in time for the playoffs too as well.
If they are able to stay alive for that long.
I think they will. They should be okay.
We'll see.
Long at least.
Well,
he is their best chance to go anywhere in the playoffs, I think. I think Mr. Trubisky is a fine backup, but nothing you can rely on.
You really look into Najee, I think. I think Najee's the difference maker.
Both of them, Najee and Jaylen Warren.
Yeah.
I mean, lean heavy into them both.
Yeah, like, you turn to Najee and Jaylen and you're like, it's in your guys' hands if we make the playoffs or not. And that's it. If they get the looks and they're able to tote the rock, make it so they can't say no to running the ball. We got offensive playmakers, or we got offensive coordinators, offensive coaches now that will adjust to what they need to do. That's why we're seeing success from the Steelers later in games.
What about the Cardinals? Where do you see their future at?
I think they got lucky.
I would agree.
Like, James Conner had a monster day. I don't think that this is a consistent performance for them. I could see them getting to 5 wins, but, like, not necessarily worth anything.
Nothing worth a damn.
I think Kyler's fighting for his starting job.
Trey McBride balled out again.
Yeah, he's been playing really well.
8 receptions, 89 yards, and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you put him up there in like the top 10 tight end rankings?
You have to at this juncture. Like, he's just been playing.
How high? How high would you put him though?
About 7 or 8, just based off performance.
He has been balling out though too.
He's been extremely
56 receptions, 74 targets, 610 yards, and then 2 touchdowns. This game, or this year.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyler hasn't been great though either, with the Cardinals, but he's gotten them 2 wins.
He has
starting quarterback.
That's what we were talking about.
Those wins matter.
Hey, we were talking about what does Kyler need to do. I said he needs to just win games, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, because I believe you said that it doesn't matter how he plays as long as they win.
Yep, exactly. Like this is the type of win where like you don't remember Kyler Murray's performance because he didn't have any passing touchdowns. He didn't even pass for over 200 yards. But it's just like they looked to him when they needed to. He got the job done when they needed him to, and then he didn't have any touchdowns because he got the ball down to the red zone and they just handed it off to James Conner and he just cooked.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of running backs cooking on the goal line, Colts, Titans. Zach Moss did not follow through.
Yeah, this game went to overtime. Colts won 31-28.
Yep, you were saying Colts 30-20, so very close. I was saying Colts 24-17. So
we weren't too far off.
Nope. Will Levis made that really heady play that I liked a lot. He threw that interception, then ran up, blasted the dude, made him fumble, and then picked up the ball.
Yeah. that was dope. I'll give him that credit. That was a heads-up play.
Yeah, that was awesome. Derrick Henry, over 100 yards, 2 TDs.
And Tajay Spears almost there too.
Yep, 75 yards, no TDs. He did have 4 receptions to compensate a little bit. So, still worth like 12 points. Not bad for an RB2 going into the game, like depth chart wise RB2, Derrick Henry just had himself a monster day. Back in old King Henry form. Worth about 27
like
points.
it too.
Yeah, worth about 27 points. About 29 actually. DeAndre, 5 receptions, 75 yards and a touchdown. Had a really good day. Will Levis, that the big thing is, he can't be fumbling. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, 3 fumbles on the day, one of them lost.
Yeah. That's the difference maker in this game because Gardner Minshew went out. He wouldn't have had a 300+ yard day if it didn't go to overtime and they didn't just like control the ball for the whole game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't like Gardner Minshew was like just dropping bombs on people. I think the deepest pass he threw was like 25 yards.
Yeah, no, they did a lot of short dink and dunks this game.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything crazy. They just short passes, and they were working. Titans didn't really seem they could stop it.
But that did lead to 2 100-yard receivers with Michael Pittman. 11 receptions, 105 yards, and a touchdown. So, racking up, 32 points?
Just about, yeah, pretty much.
Alec Pierce, 100 yards, 3 receptions, and a touchdown. So, he's worth another, 25 points?
Yeah.
Just pretty good day all around from the receiving core. Even Kyle Granson and Josh Downs, Josh Downs wasn't great, but 4 points is better than nothing. And sometimes when we're talking about receivers that are 3 and 4 and 5 on the depth chart, that's the risk you're taking, and you know that.
Especially when you start him, yeah. And he has that, Josh Downs has that flash potential. So if you do ever put him into your lineup, he has that potential to get you those, the 15 to 20 points.
He does.
Unlikely, but the potential is there.
Yeah, he's done it a couple times this year. As time goes on, I think that he'll be more dominant.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Anything else you want to mention on that game? It was a close game. It went to overtime. I like that heads up play from Will Levis. I just it kind of went the way I thought it was going to, a close game. I wasn't expecting overtime necessarily, but just Gardner Minshew was picking them apart. I was kind of expecting to. I wasn't expecting over 300 yards.
Do you think no matter what happens, AR is the starter next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. Okay, let me ask you this. What would he have had to have done for him not to be like the certified starter?
There's a chance that Gardner stays the starter. But there's only one thing he has to win.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right, so not taking the Super Bowl into account though, like what would his stats have to look like? Yeah, he's a starter.
Probably 3,000 yards on the season. Not projected, but just on the season. 3,000 plus yards. 27 touchdowns, 12 interceptions type thing with a 66% completion rate.
Okay. Might hit the yardage, but won't hit the touchdowns.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, and he'd have to get a playoff win with that stat line. So,
win that divisional round or wild card, wherever they fall.
It'd be wild if somehow Gardner did lead the Colts. What if he did?
Roll and win it? Oh, he would get the Nick Foles treatment.
Do you think so?
Probably.
Because I think it's a little different with Gardner. Gardner, we've always been like, he never got a fair shake. Nick Foles did. Blew it. Came back. Seized his second chance. Gardner Minshew, it wasn't like he blew it. They just had a horrible team around him. And he was injured. And they were able to go get Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter who your quarterback set is when you're drafted and you can get Trevor Lawrence. You're taking Trevor Lawrence when he's coming out of college. Best prospect ever.
And I think it's kind of like no matter what he does, though, AR is going to be pretty much the starter next year. Even though the Colts might not say that, they might say something different, like, oh, it's going to be a quarterback competition. When in reality, that
everybody knows
it's not at all.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, it'd be one of those unspoken things where AR is the certified starter and Gardner's just there in case of injury.
I
think it's kind of what it comes down to.
100%.
Yes, ma'am.
That leads us into the next game. You predicted Dolphins 42-35. I predicted Dolphins 24-17. Dolphins ended up winning 45-15.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed in Sam Howell.
Me too.
Not that it's going to be a much better game than it actually was. Because Sam Howell was 12 of 23 for 127 yards and an interception. And the running game was virtually non-existent as well. Reception-wise, no one was there, but that's because of the quarterback play, but also because of Dolphins' defense schematically. Do you think Sam Howell's the answer for Washington?
I think he's the best option.
Do you think they try and draft someone?
I think they might, but they should.
That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, like it's just one of those things where I don't know, man. You just gotta like think of how good Sam Howell actually is, and I think Sam Howell is better than that 5-7 record that the Commanders are representing. But
4-9, but yeah,
or excuse me, 4-9. Excuse
me. You're excused.
So I mean, that's how I think of it. Like I think he's better than 4-9.
Yeah.
When you just watch him, he's just good. Something I want to ask you back.
Mm-hmm.
Should we actually consider Tyreek Hill in the MVP candidate race?
Yes.
Yes.
I think he has been consistently the best and most important player in the NFL to date this season.
I agree.
Like on the season, he has 93 receptions, 127 targets, 1,481 yards, and 12 touchdowns. He's projected to have 180 targets, 132 receptions, 2,100 yards, and 17 touchdowns.
What if he did go over 2,100 yards?
I think he should be in that MVP conversation. Because like at that point, like outside of quarterback, what more do you need to do as a skill position player?
Yeah, I mean,
if he's not even a finalist with this stat line come year's end, what more do you want? What more can you expect?
Did Cooper Kupp become a finalist when he got 2,000 yards? Or no, he didn't even do it. He didn't even do it in the regular season, did he? Yeah, Tyreek is on pace to be the first wide receiver to ever do it.
Yeah, no, he wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, if he does it, like.
But he did receive a vote.
Yeah.
And he was the first wide receiver in more than 2 decades to do that. So, and if Tyreek does this in a regular season, and he's on track.
Because he would just be shattering.
I think you have to.
He would just be shattering the single season receiving yard records.
Yeah.
Like.
So it's like I think you have to at this point, like at least have him in that conversation to be a finalist, if not win the whole thing.
Because at this pace, like, he could potentially have 200 more yards than Cooper Kupp did.
Exactly. So, like, do you put him as the number one?
No.
MVP?
I wouldn't bet on it. Do I think he should be? Probably.
With these numbers, yeah.
I mean, it's just like
out.
Every time he gets the ball, it's lethal.
Yeah, he's so quick and agile.
It's like watching Antonio Brown, but if Antonio Brown could run a 4.2 40.
and was still playing.
Yeah, obviously. I said Antonio Brown because of the shiftiness, the quick release, the route ability, the catchability, like all those logistic things. When you're watching a player, like it's like Tyreek is like Antonio Brown with how he's getting to routes and shit, but then he has that speed afterwards, which Antonio Brown was fast, but not this fucking fast.
No one has been this fast.
He's just gone, bro.
He is someone I'd probably put at number 1 or 2. Probably number 2.
In your personal opinion or in your betting votes?
In my personal opinion.
Yeah.
In my betting, he's probably like 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, I'm thinking 5th, actually.
Because real life, I think he's not going to be top 3.
I think they mention him. They're like, okay, Tyreek, here's your mention.
Yeah, here's your honorable mention.
Yeah. What happens if next year he comes back and then breaks it again?
I mean, that would be his last season.
Yeah. He says that he wants
to what he said.
Do you think he's going to?
I don't know, man, because he seems pretty adamant to just become a streamer, and He's already like even if when he leaves, he's gonna have hella endorsements and deals and sponsorships and everything like that to make plenty of money to still have a comfortable living. So I would not be surprised if he decides to leave football for sure after next year.
So let's say that he doesn't have an insane season next year, but still a really good one, around 1,700 yards, 10 touchdowns, let's say. Do you think he gets into the Hall?
I think he would deserve to.
I think so too.
He has the stats to back it up.
He's got the Super Bowl wins. He's got 2.
The Super Bowl wins with the stats. I think he does, and I think he's the first ballot.
Yeah, I think he's got the highlights too.
Mm-hmm.
He passes the eye test. You can put on a 20-minute reel of his highlights and be like, wow. Imagine if he didn't retire at 30, but not in the same way of Andrew Luck, in a proven way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's one of the things they look for in the Hall of Fame voting. So,
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Speaking of MVP candidates, Denver Broncos at Houston Texans.
Yes. The interception to end the game from Wilson.
It's poetry, isn't it? You see CJ Stroud got that dog in him. That Bronco defensive end started to fuck with him. He said,
"Oh yeah." He didn't back down, and then 3 or 4 of his offensive linemen came over.
Yeah.
And really shoved him away.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
I did too. I like that.
It was cool to see.
It was.
But for the Houston receiving, no one of note besides really Nico Collins with 9 receptions, 191 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
39 fantasy points right there.
Dominant.
That was just sitting on my bench.
You love to see it.
Yeah, I totally forgot, but that's fine. Dameon Pierce finally came back. 15 carries, 41 yards, and a touchdown. Nothing great, but he had a touchdown, which saved his fantasy day. And then CJ Stroud, 16 of 27, 274, and a touchdown. Not looking great, but played well enough, I think, for the Texans to win.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I mean, that's all you really want, especially from a rookie quarterback. Just put you in a position. Don't make costly fumbles.
Exactly.
And interceptions.
Don't let the ball get away from you. Yeah, you're thinking that the Texans were going to win 31-21. I was thinking Broncos 24-20. Obviously, final score was 22-17. Yeah. Not a big offensive game, even though there was a good amount of points on the board. Fantasy wise, moving forward, I still start, Texans wide receivers and flex. If I have any, I think all 3 of them are just auto starts at this juncture.
Okay, so damn. Well, what's the pecking order for you? The most confident to least confident.
Nico, Tank, Noah.
Noah Brown had a 3-game stretch where he was just balling out for 20-some points.
He's injured right now.
Yeah.
So he still could come back and just be dominant. And I think it's worth
the
flex spot
back this game.
Yeah, but he's coming off injury. He was limited in practice all week.
True. He's just been an exciting development for the Texans for me. Mm-hmm. He's been fun to watch. Like I said earlier, he was exploding for a 3-game stretch there before he got injured, which was really fun to see, and I love to see it.
Yeah. Once he gets back to 100%, I'm excited to see him perform well again, because he will.
Do you think the Broncos are going to kind of stagnate after this loss, or do you think they're just going to keep moving up and get a few more wins?
I mean, the division's in their grasp.
Yeah.
Who knows? I guess it matters how they come back.
You think they could finish first?
They could. mathematically, if the Chiefs keep losing, especially to teams like the Packers.
Yeah, because the Chiefs have what, like 4 losses, right?
Yep.
3 more losses for the Chiefs, 3 more for the Broncos. Ooh, mathematically, they do be in it with 5 games left.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the remaining matchups, by the way. They got Chargers, Lions, Patriots, Chargers, Raiders. They already have 1 win over the Chiefs and 1 loss.
What do you think they go to the remaining schedule?
I don't know. I don't know what to think with this Broncos team. I don't know.
They're confusing.
They're very confusing.
Because like when they lost by 50, everyone just immediately wrote them off.
Yeah.
Myself. And since then, they have been a very, very good football team.
Yeah. Because on the other side, Chiefs are playing the Bills, Patriots, then Raiders, Bengals, and Chargers.
A little bit harder.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely possible for the Chiefs to lose 3 of those games.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Imagine a world where the Chiefs miss the playoffs.
I can't picture it.
Russell Wilson might let it happen. Let's ride.
I can't picture that. I don't know what I would do if that was a thing.
Let's ride. Broncos country.
No, let's not. Let's go Chiefs.
Chill, bro.
What's up?
Bandwagoner.
Let's go Chiefs.
So we both predicted the Bucs to win this game.
Mild.
Bucs 24-7 was your prediction. Bucs 17-10 was mine. Final score, Bucs 21-18. Okay.
Yeah, way closer. The lone bright spot that came out of this is that I'm probably still going to win my bet with Ben regarding Baker Mayfield not having more than 30 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah.
And he currently has 18. So I'm chilling.
Yeah. I mean,
other than that, I wish Tampa Bay in my heart of hearts lost because I hate Baker. But
3 touchdowns a game over the next 5 games, bro.
Not going to happen. He's not that good.
They could.
But they won't. Let's not lie to ourselves now, guy. Let's not lie to ourselves. It'd be one hell of a story. But very unlikely. What do you think the Bucs do? Because Baker's played all right. He hasn't played fantastic, but he also hasn't played like super poorly.
Baker's a bridge guy.
You think they'll draft someone this offseason?
This season or next season. They're going to get their guy. That's the thing with them. They're going to get their guy.
I can see it. Because he had like 14 to 29, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, so it wasn't super efficient with the ball. 25 QBR. Again, not great. But then what kind of saved it was the rushing side of the ball. Rachaad White, 20 carries, 84 yards, and a touchdown. And then Chris Godwin had that 19-yard carry for another touchdown. So if you started Rachaad White, you're super happy because you got like 18 points right there. And then Chris Godwin, if you started him, you're kind of upset because he got no receiving work.
Yeah, bro.
Even though he had 3 targets, and then Mike Evans, 12 targets.
Mike Evans, though.
Baller.
You just know, bro.
One of the best fantasy wide receivers I had because he's so consistent.
Guaranteed.
Year in, year out. You're getting guaranteed points. Especially through the 8th year. Damn. Yeah, because he had 7 receptions, 162 yards, and a touchdown.
In redraft, would you rather take Mike Evans or Keenan Allen?
Probably Mike Evans.
So you're saying Mike Evans is a first-round wide receiver?
Yeah, because if I'm drafting at the back end of the first round, it's very possible Keenan Allen gets taken, so. In that case, I'm very happy to draft Mike Evans.
If you're at the back end of the first round and Keenan Allen's on there, You got to pass up Keenan Allen to take up Mike Evans.
Man, that's a tough one because it really just comes down to whose offense you like better. Because Keenan Allen, I think, has the better potential on that offense, the Chargers offense, with a better quarterback. And Mike Evans has the complete opposite. He has the worst quarterback, the worst situation.
But he's still doing it.
But Mike Evans, I think, is a little bit more consistent.
I do too.
And this year, for example, let's see, regular season-wise, Keenan Allen 102 targets and 102 receptions for 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns. So pretty good. Very good, actually, I would say, through this far.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Mike Evans, you have, okay, why is it doing that? 61 receptions, 1,000 yards, and 10 touchdowns. So like 30-some less receptions, but only 100 less yards. I think probably Mike Evans is what I would lean.
Yeah.
And probably go with.
Yeah, I can feel that.
I mean, he's not going to get as much opportunity as Keenan Allen is.
Right.
But he makes the most of that opportunity, I would say. What about you?
I'd take Keenan Allen still, but I think that Mike Evans is still a valuable first-round pick if Keenan Allen's off the board. And Justin Jefferson.
Of course. I mean, if you're taking anyone over Justin Jefferson, that wide receiver,
you're insane.
You're a crackhead.
Correct.
Certified. Legitimate crackhead.
Oh, that leads us into our next game, which leads us into another wide receiver or two, which could be getting first-round praises coming into the next season. Puka, Cooper Kupp, and Cleveland Browns at Los Angeles Rams. You predicted Rams 21-13. I predicted 30-24 Browns. It was Rams 36-9.
Hell yeah, let's go Rams.
Joe Flacco Williams was not the answer. I mean, he played all right, but he wasn't
horrible. But he wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
I don't think he was necessarily the reason they lost either.
You let 36 points up on defense, you're going to lose a lot of games.
It's very hard to win games, but yeah, when you let up those kind of points. And Matthew Stafford didn't play fantastic either. He just didn't turn the ball over.
I mean, he had 3 touchdowns, almost 300 yards on the day. He played pretty fucking good.
Yeah, but 22-37.
Sure.
So from that standpoint, he wasn't fantastic and 279 yards. But also Joe Flacco almost had 300 yards and almost 3 touchdowns. So he played pretty damn good.
Yeah, almost 3 touchdowns is different than 3 touchdowns. And he had a pick.
Yeah.
And he was sacked twice.
Okay, I wasn't going to go that far with it. Come on, jeez.
And Matthew Stafford rushed for -2 yards, bro.
-2 yards. That's 277 yards now.
Damn.
A day.
He wild.
The Rams were just in. The Rams were just in control of the game the whole time. I don't think there's really any threat of the Browns.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Kareem Hunt looks solid. Not much to write home about, honestly. It's a solid game. Rams blow them out. Puka is keeping up a really well-rounded season. 4 receptions, 105 yards, and touchdown. Cooper Kupp, 6 receptions, 39 yards, and touchdown. Demarcus Robinson having quiet but good game. 4 receptions, 55 yards, and a touchdown. So, good 15, 16-point week. Solid. As for that, I mean, that was kind of my Rams wrap-up. There wasn't much to talk about. Browns are in a tough spot with their division now. Helped that the Steelers lost, but the AFC North is starting to loosen up, and maybe none of the teams make the playoffs from there now, other than the Ravens.
Possible. It's hard, especially in the fourth quarter, to win a game when you let up 16 points.
100%.
That shit is as difficult. It's not easy. And the Browns were down 20-19 at that point. And then they scored 16 unanswered points. And they're like, oh, I don't know why we didn't win.
Well,
when there's a very clear reason why you just guys fell apart in the fourth quarter.
yeah. When that happens, like
Absolutely
you just
fell apart.
you don't deserve to win. You didn't want it more.
It's like they just down the stretch forgot how to play defense. Because even though I think the Rams controlled the game the whole time, it's just really that fourth quarter where the Browns could have got stops and they didn't. They didn't make those plays when they needed to, and it's almost like they just forgot what to do and were confused.
Yeah.
That's the whole time. That was kind of my interpretation of it.
Hey, I was getting on the same page with you. Like, I don't know. It just seems like the Browns are lost and they don't know what to do. They got the utility to make a run still. I think so. You know, they got Amari Cooper. They got David Njoku. They got Kareem Hunt. They got Jerome Ford. They got weapons. They got Elijah Moore. You know, like, they got a good offensive line. They got a great defense. You know, they can make it happen. It's just a matter if they want to or not. With that being said, a team that wanted it more than the other, San Francisco 49ers, go to Philly and hand the Eagles their ass. 49ers 42-19. I predicted the Eagles 31-17. You predicted 49ers 35-31. Yeah. Game was not close.
I didn't think it was going to be an ass whooping.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting this.
You know, it was kind of funny it was like after the game, a bunch of stories came out about how the 49ers were basically smack talking and said that they should have been in the NFC title game because they didn't have their quarterback and all this. And then maybe they would have been the representatives.
Maybe they were onto something.
Maybe they're onto something with that logic. But ultimately, obviously, we'll never know because we can't go back in time like that or anything like that. But
unless it happens again,
won the game. That's true. But I think the best team won the game. Philly looked confused.
Yeah.
They couldn't get comfortable. They couldn't get the run game going, which I think was the biggest thing for them.
Yeah, and this loss makes it kind of scary for Philly because now the Cowboys are breathing down their neck.
Yeah, one game.
And I think they play each other one more time this year.
Yep. I think this week. Very telling for the Eagles and kind of knocks them down a pedestal. You know, because a lot of people, I think, recognize them as the far and away best team in the NFL. But I think this game kind of proves that they weren't.
Right.
You know, and so I think the 49ers started off very hot, went into that little slump there for three games, and then they're climbing back out of that slump.
And being as dominant as ever.
Climbing. Right, and it's coming at the perfect time because the playoffs are right around the corner.
Yeah. Yeah,
so I'm expecting big things.
I lost faith in the 49ers, but now it's back.
Yeah. I mean, rightfully so, because they played like shit for 3 games in a row and lost all 3 of them.
Yeah. You know, like...
You know, and they're finally coming back into that form that we're used to seeing. And the Brock Purdy is playing good. Their offensive line is playing better. Their defensive line, their linebackers, their cornerbacks, everyone's playing better.
Yeah. And CMC's just doing CMC things, as per usual.
Yeah. He's a solid to amazing player. Like, he's someone that you always put in your fantasy lineup no matter who they're playing.
Yeah.
And if
he was like that in Carolina.
And if you're not playing him because they're playing a tough defense or whatever, then you should rethink your choices. Play him.
You probably should.
Because he's an auto lock, in my opinion. You know,
I agree.
I don't think it matters because it matters who they're playing. He's going to get the work. He's going to get the touches.
I think he's one of the only true auto locks in the NFL right now.
Yeah, there's very few, and he's one of them.
I think he's a true RB1 auto lock. no matter what, he's RB1. Like Justin Jefferson's like that. Keenan Allen's like that. Mike Evans might be even like that. Jonathan Taylor. Tyreek Hill, definitely. Jonathan Taylor's up there. Najee Harris should be, but he's not.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet.
It's like all those players, like no matter what the game script is, the offense has almost run through them. So like they're always like the first read, they get the most work, which then leads to those fantasy points.
Yeah.
I get it.
DeAndre Swift, how do you feel about him moving forward?
I feel good. Didn't have a good game.
No, he didn't.
6 carries, 13 yards. But, I mean, I kind of think he's over the season. He's proved his worth, which is more than it ever was with the Lions.
Right.
So I think he's a comfortable RB2.
That's fair.
Kind of where I put him at. He's productive most weeks. Definitely not out of luck by any means, but he's a comfortable start most weeks. And I like his talent, I like his potential, and I like his usage with the Eagles.
100%. So, a running back that I think is getting just as much praise as he deserves, Isaiah Pacheco for the Chiefs. Although they did not win the game, final score being 27-19, I predicted that the Packers were going to win 28-17, so very close, barely off, and you predicted 27-24.
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes had a mediocre day. Pacheco, as I said, 110 yards on the ground, touchdown, and 3 receptions. Solid. And Rashee Rice, do you think he is a good enough receiver right now to remain at wide receiver 2?
I think potentially. But there's no one consistent outside of Kelce.
That's fair.
I think. But I think he has the highest chance outside of him. Because Sky Moore, great talent, MVS, good. Isaiah Pacheco, good. Richie James. They all still get their work. And Rashee Rice had the most targets out of 9 with 9, and then had 8 receptions for 64 yards.
Yeah.
So, like, I would love for him to be that go-to guy for the receivers, but I don't think he's quite there yet. I think they're still trying to figure out what to do, and that's what's really hurting the Chiefs right now. And it is, to me, the biggest reason why they're in 4.
I agree. It seems like they don't truly have an identity in their pass game other than getting the ball to Kelce.
Yeah, at least before it was Kelce or
Hill.
Tyreek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's just Kelce and maybe someone else.
Yeah.
So it's like if you take Kelce out the game or limit his damage, you really control the game. You're swinging it in your favor, especially as a defense, because the Chiefs' offense is no longer a threat.
100%. Jordan Love went and had himself a field day, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He got sacked twice, but we'll look past that because he had 2 carries on 10 yards as well. Romeo Doubs had a solid game. Christian Watson, explosive this matchup. He was worth like 25 points. A.J. Dillon was solid on the ground, worthy flex start as per usual where he's at. Yeah. Do you think Jordan Love is getting back?
I think he's on his way.
Yeah.
And he might even be the answer for the Packers. Just had a rough start, which is possible, and I think is expected when you're taking over a program. Not everyone's going to come right out the gate being hot. You're going to have your up and down as a first-year starter. So I think this is just like a learning year for Jordan Love, and we really see what type of quarterback he is next year.
So for reference, in his last 5 games, he's been worth 1,374 passing yards. He has 12 or 11 touchdowns, 2 picks, and he's also only been sacked 10 times in the last 5 games.
But he's on the Packers, so
if he was playing like this for the full season, he'd be on pace for like 4,500 plus yards.
Yeah, then people want to be talking.
I honestly think, he has came back, even if the Packers do miss the playoffs this year. I do honestly think that he's proven himself to be, back.
Where would you rank him?
12
among the quarterbacks right now.
12 or 11.
So, do you think he is the answer for the Packers?
Yeah. I think at this juncture, you stick with him. You ride it.
Oh yeah,
you're not getting a quarterback this year.
Yeah, you definitely don't draft one. You have to let him ride at least another year.
Mm-hmm. He's proven it.
He's earned that right. He's earned it.
Yep.
Now, do you think they make the playoffs?
No. They need a lot to happen for him to make the playoffs. So they could. If they did, I think they'd make a splash, honestly.
I mean, they got the offensive weapons to do that, so yeah.
All of a sudden, they do.
They would make one hell of a splash. That's for sure.
Their defense is really good. That's what I like about them.
They've been playing a lot better, too, as well, on defense side of the ball.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised.
Leading us into our final game of the week, there's no defense to be found. 2 backup quarterbacks after a tragic Trevor Lawrence injury. 34-31, Cincinnati Bengals take out the AFC South leaders, Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm pretty sure I said that the Jags were going to win this game.
I said Jags too.
But although Browning, damn, did he play amazing.
Hey, I did predict that the Jags would score 31 points.
Hey, there you go.
I predicted 31-17.
Got half.
Yep. So counts for something. That does count for a point.
Jake Browning, 32 of 37, 354 yards and a touchdown. Goddamn.
Yeah.
Was he good?
He looks solid.
And then
does he take over for Joe Burrow? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
No. That's not even entertained.
No.
He may get a little slight pay bump for backup quarterback duties.
Yeah.
But Joe Burrow would have to retire for Browning to be the quarterback full time.
What if he goes and wins the Bengals the Super Bowl, though?
And he might be talking some. Then it might be a little more convincing.
Yeah. At this juncture, though. No. Obviously.
Yeah, I would say as of right now, no chance. I guess in theory it's possible because nothing's ever 0, right?
Yeah. But it's as close as it can be.
Yeah. But even if they do make the Super Bowl or win it, right, for that matter, I think
you got Joe Burrow.
So the starter.
Yeah.
Because someone's going to try and snipe Jake Browning.
Yeah.
Potentially. But he played a fantastic game.
He did.
Like, you could not play a better game than he played. He just didn't have a lot of touchdown passes for as many yards as he had.
If Lawrence doesn't go down, do the Jags win this game?
50-50.
50-50.
Kind of where I'd put it. 50-50.
He was on pace to have over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. So, but on pace doesn't mean in reality.
True.
You know, so it's like that's why I say 50-50. Because their odds go up a lot higher with Trevor Lawrence to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas as soon as they went down, I was like, oh, they probably got like a 20% chance to win.
Yeah.
You know, so because of his injury, it went down a lot. But with Trevor Lawrence, I think it is 50-50 because Jake Browning was playing so good.
Right. That's fair.
That offense was just rolling.
They were.
And the Jags defense didn't look like they could stop it. You know, so it's like they very well could have won, but I don't know how likely it would have been.
Yeah. I think the Jags would have won. I think they just would have. I think it was like 75-25 in favor of the Jags.
I did the argument.
Jamar Chase had a field day. Joe Mixon was good on fantasy. Travis Etienne had a solid day. You usually like to see him have more because of how premier he's been this season, but he had just an average game. Evan Ingram came out of nowhere, had a really good game. And those are pretty much the circle points that I want to point out.
Yeah. Thank you, Evan Ingram, because I started him in my league.
Yep. Evan Ingram was a stud this week.
He's been pretty good as if you started him most weeks, right? Like he'll usually get you like 8 to 10 points.
Yeah.
Per game, which isn't too horrible either.
Right.
So I don't know, man.
Man, I don't know. Do you think the Jags are losing it?
Well, Trevor Lawrence apparently has a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
Supposedly, so that could be the downfall for the Jags.
Yeah. I think so.
And lead to the Texans winning the division.
They just slip on in there.
No, literally, yeah.
Like
what's about to happen?
Because now they got the Browns, Ravens, Bucks, Panthers, and Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I could see 2 of those games being winnable.
And without Trevor Lawrence, they're not gonna be the favorites in those games, and their chance of winning goes down drastically.
I 100% agree.
I wouldn't be surprised they'd lose out.
They could. That'd be wild.
Because CJ Beathard is not that good.
That's true.
So, like, maybe they have someone like a Drake Browning that was just efficient. But, I mean, some may say CJ Beathard was efficient in this game, but I don't know. I don't think they stand a chance in most games that they have left on the schedule. I think they get lucky to win 2 games.
I feel that. That's kind of where I'm at.
Which means they still probably lose the division.
Yeah, I think so too.
Especially with the way the Texans are rolling.
The Texans are hot. And I think that they can make waves.
Mm-hmm. They will.
Yeah, they're tough.
I think, at least.
Well,
I don't know. I'm excited to watch this coming week.
Anything you want to wrap up
about that tomorrow?
Yeah.
Chad, say anything?
Let's double check. Couch cam. That's true. Couch cam is true.
We love the couch cam.
Couch cam is wild. All right. Well, Austin, how about you set us off?
No, you got this. But I did have one last question. Did you have like a surprise performance of the week?
Yeah, Jordan Love.
So
I was really surprised, and it improved. It was a prove-it game for me. Okay. Like this was a true prove-it game. It wasn't like a prove-it game where, like, you know, when I'm talking about like Zach Wilson, I'm saying this is a prove-it game so he keeps his starting job. This was a prove-it game to see if he was real, and he proved it. He won in a dominant fashion. It was because of him that the Packers won
against a good team,
against a great team. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. All right, Shane, why don't you go ahead and sound this off?
All right. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and follow me on twitch.tv/Information. Don't forget to check our YouTube channel, The Whole 9, Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, we're at. And with that, I hope you have a great night. Bye.